Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here with my review of S.H.Figuarts Vegito from Dragonball Z. This is my first Dragon Ball Z related figure art review in quite some time. I think the last one I did was maybe Trunks. I just really haven't been keeping up with the releases quite as much as other things, but Vegito's always been a favorite of mine, so I decided, why not? But anyway, as with you, anyway, time for some babbling. No, anyway, as with usual, I don't even think that's a way of saying things. We'll take a look at the box first. Nothing too special. It's got like Bronco colors going on, but you got his name here, in case you didn't know. That didn't say vegetable. And then there's a little like pixelated image here of Super Vegito here on the side. Got the Dragon Ball Z logo at the bottom. Little picture of him on the side with his name. On the back here, just shows you some poses and stuff you can get him in. His amazing quote, "Alright." But, you know, it just kind of shows off what Figuarts does, stuff you can do with him, Figuarts description, all that fun stuff. So, nothing too amazing. Accessories-wise, he actually comes with a fair bit of stuff to do with him. You obviously have several different hands. On him he has the traditional closed fists, which are always on a figure out when you get it. And then you kind of have these opened up blaster hands, these sort of scrunched angrier blast hands. And then this hand right here, this like sort of special-ish one, is for the accessory. This little, it's also, they're all just blast hands. That's all he does is blast and punch, which I guess is really accurate to Dragon Ball. But this one is specific for this right here, this little energy effect piece here, which you can have him blasting out of his hand, which is pretty neat. It's just like this kind of clear yellow plastic. It looks like the urine blast, but still neat. And then you actually have swappable arms for a crossed arm thing, so we'll probably show that off. You pop his arms off and put this on. The last one I had like that was Piccolo, so very familiar with that. And then you can swap his hair out to Super Saiyan. It's really funny, like when you consider like the most figure arts I buy are Rider, and you know, Dragon Ball Z is like the only ones that would have swappable hair like this, and it seems normal. It's essentially like having a wig. But yeah, Super Saiyan hair. And then you have 4 different faces. The one I have on him actually isn't the default. This one right here is the default, just sort of generic, regular Vegito face. And then on him I have this sort of screaming, looking to the side face. You have screaming Super Saiyan face, like smarmy Super Saiyan face, and then generic Super Saiyan face. So you get actually a decent little variety there depending on what kind of mood you want your Vegito to be in. So that's pretty neat. There's all kinds of different options for him there. Alright, so now let's take a look at the figure himself. First of all, I'm going to turn him a little bit because we're going to do his little runway, you know, pan thingy going on. So here we have Vegito wearing a lovely combination of Goku and Vegeta's clothes. No, well that's actually true. I was going to say that's not fake, but I'm not going to do that weird fashion-y thing. But yeah, overall, look-wise, this guy's a pretty good-looking figure. I really don't have any problems with him. I think he captures the look of the anime pretty well. I like how right when I decide to zoom in, it's like he's at his back. But the head sculpt, as you can see some of the ones in the faces I showed you, is pretty well done there. I think it looks really good. The colors on his suit, I think, look pretty good. They look pretty show accurate. There's really no problems with it. His boots are just like super white. I'm pretty sure the camera's picking that up really well, but compared to like the rest of them, they did a good job on that. You can see there's all kinds of nice little details like in the clothing where, you know, it shows it sort of, you know, being like movable and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pretty good looking figure. Like I said, I can't really think of any problems with it. Every now and then you do get little, you can see all along like the various like creases and stuff from where his articulation is. Sometimes the shoulders, when you're moving it, will pop out, so you have like this gap. But that's really not a huge deal, and there's nothing you can do about that when you're just working with a figure in general. And they're pretty easy to fix, and look-wise, I think he looks pretty decent. I really don't have too much of a problem with or anything like that. Let's stop spinning for a minute to Vegito. I don't know why I'm doing that weird voice. But articulation-wise, you have your pretty much basic figure art stuff. You got a 360 ball joint here, swiveling, so you can see that comes apart a little bit, but they actually move together pretty well. So if you move him and he's like that, then just kind of slide that into place. Did I do swiveling already? I got distracted by my own shoulder pads. They're not my shoulder pads. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Double elbow joint here. It's actually kind of hindered a little bit by his muscle, which is kind of not a problem, right? Figure arts have. Swiveling at his fists. You have articulation here at the waist and the chest. A nice little ball joint here on his leg. Swiveling as well. Double knee joint. So when you get poses like that, you can also see that. But that's just a thing with figures. There's very rarely you have figures where that's not really a problem. You got swiveling here on his foot. It's on a nice little ball joint. You got the little toe bendy joint there. And then his head and neck are also on ball joints here, so you get a good range of movement. He looks so weird like that with his mouth open. He's like, ah. God, it's weird. But yeah, very well articulated. If you're not familiar with Figuarts, they're very nicely articulated figures. This mold is very solid. I don't have any problems with it being loose. All the joints feel really good and in place. I don't feel like anything's about to become loose. So a very solid mold you have there. Okay, so for switching out his heads, it's actually pretty simple. Like, if you just want to switch this guy's face off, just completely decapitate him and boom, dead. No. And to switch it out, you're actually going to take off the front piece of his hair, which is kind of weird, and then take the head off, or the face rather, and try to get it out of the stupid plastic thing by the nose, and it doesn't want to pop out. And then just, you know, place it, well, that's where his hair goes. Place it right here, and then place it like that, and then you have a generic Vegito face. I'm actually going to put the other one back on because that's the one I want for my default regular Vegito face, just because the other one is just so boring. So boring, man. Okay, so that is that for just switching off faces. So now we'll put on a Super Saiyan face. I guess we'll do screaming. The Dragon Ball folk love to be screaming. Okay, so yeah, same deal here. There's really no difference. You just pull off the bangs, put in the little head, or the little face. It's kind of funny because I'm trying to push it in so it stays secure, but these are like super spiky, so it hurts if I press too hard. See, damn it. See? How do I mess up at something as simple as this? Let's, like, for real, Dawson. Get your stuff together. That should be good enough, hopefully, until it falls off in like 5 seconds. Okay, and then there's like a little, you know, ball joint under there, or a little ball peg, or whatever you want to call it, and you're going to want to put his head on there. And it can be a little annoying, especially when this decides to come apart. Alright, so there we got it. It took a minute just because it's annoying. His face still might be a little bit off of there, but don't look at him. But yeah, so there's that. It's pretty easy to switch out in most cases, but this one, I don't know why. There's something about his Super Saiyan head. I'm not sure what it is. It's possible some of the little peg joints, or peg holes for his face are a little bit off. I have a Sentai figure that's like that, where there's like a peg in the back, and the molding is just off so that it's hard to get in and stay in there. It's getting really dirty, but the regular head is just fine. I really don't have any problems with trying to do anything with that. Alright, now we're going to do a couple little arm switches here just to show you. So to switch off to the, you know, what you call it, crossed arms, you actually have to pull off his regular arms here. Okay, got those off after dealing with his head exploding again. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of adjust his little stubs here to sort of be in line. And you put these on. It's pretty easy, actually, unless his head decides to explode off again. I feel like I don't want to say anything about it being easy now, because as soon as I say stuff like that, things go difficult. But like when I was, you know, putting everything together and there's a piece of plastic sticking out of him, I hate when I always find those later. He stayed together a little bit better than Piccolo in terms of his arms. Alright, so there you get the general idea. You can probably adjust it a little bit more to be a smidge more in. But I have an easier time, with the exception of now, but once I get it situated, like I have an easier time with him moving it around than with Piccolo. Piccolo's always had a really hard time getting it to stay. But I don't know why he would have his arms crossed and be screaming, like, although that seems very Vegito, like to be just calmly having your arms crossed and then powering up to Super Saiyan. But it's a cool little feature. It makes for a pretty interesting looking pose for him. So I dig that. So now after all that, we're going to pull these arms off. I feel like I just don't want to get anywhere near his face, because it's just going to like pull off all of his face in Super Saiyan hair. I feel like I just want to keep it, when I have it displayed, just keep it in regular mode, solely out of spite for how much trouble his Super Saiyan face gave me. Alright, so we got regular arms back on here. Okay, now we're going to do something very simple for the end game here. And where is it? Switch off to his little blasty hand. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. It's really funny. Okay, there we go. Okay, this should be pretty easy, hopefully. Famous last words for me especially. Okay. So, to do the little blast effect, it's actually really easy. So you got this very special hand on there, and this little line up here, it's really easy. It's just supposed to go right in there, and boom, you've got a little blasty effect. So it's pretty neat. I always dig little effects like this, and I really like that this one is one that you can actually put on his hand. I know there's some like where you have a large like energy ball effect or something, and you have to have like a little Tamashii stand to hold it up and stuff. God, he's gonna blast us! But so I like that you have one that you can actually just put on him. No Tamashii stand required. Just switch off a simple hand. It's very easy. So that's pretty good looking, and I dig it quite a bit. Oh man, I didn't even anticipate that happening. There we go. This review is just like riddled with like bloopers. It's pretty great. But anyway, as for like a final verdict thingy, overall I do like this figure. The Dragon Ball figures are in general pretty solid. Like when I'm recommending this guy, I'm not being like, oh my god, this is an amazing figure, it's a must-own for all collections. But if you like Vegito, I can recommend it. It's a very good looking figure, the paint looks good on it, it's accurate, no mistakes that I can find. The mold is very well done, there's no loose joints or anything. Things are fairly easy to fix. You have a very solid variety of things to do with him in terms of faces and poses and whatnot. My only real nitpick being with this, and it could be just my personal figure, is that the pieces on his face swapping for the Super Saiyan hair have a hard time staying in. Like I said, that could be just exclusive to mine. Sometimes that happens, but everything on this one's fine. But overall, if you are a fan of Vegito and you want a highly articulated figure for him, this is the way to go. It's a very solid figure, and I can recommend it despite face exploding problems. Alright, that's about it. Until next time, make sure to check out the Crazy Podcast at writersrangeandrambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe? Yeah, there we go. Got the word right. Till next time, Stossum Writer, signing out.